Good morning, it's Brian. It is the art of startup war. I am here with another phenomenal founder that we have had the absolute pleasure to be able to invest in. And as always, we are speaking to investors who are looking to get really, really, really good returns, which is exactly the same as us. And we're looking for investors who are looking at early stage founders and they're saying to themselves, hey, there's a lot of founders. We know that if we pick the right one, we get the Amazon, we get the 100 times return, 1,000 times return, depending on when we get in, really good returns. However, how do we know the great companies? Well, one way is to follow really great venture capitalists, of which we believe that we are one. Our diligence in these companies is extremely strong. And when we bring companies through and we make investments into them, we believe that we rigorously check the most important fundamentals of that company, from the founder to the team to the growth to everything else that the company is going to do. One such founder is Quadri. And the company that we're going to look at is Shiip. And what they're doing and they're actually creating in the world today is absolutely phenomenal. We're going to have a look at a very specific continent, which we like very, 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 very much over in Africa. And we're going to look at the logistical challenges that are being faced over there, which are providing a phenomenal opportunity for a company to break through that we believe has got more than the potential to become a unicorn. Quadri, welcome to the show. You all right?
Hello, I'm right.
Okay.
Nice to have me here. Yeah.
We're gonna talk about startup. We're gonna talk about growth. We're gonna talk about like how you build a unicorn. So can you take us? You guys are doing awesome right now. You got great growth trajectory. You got a phenomenal team. You're in a really strong space. You're feeling super confident about everything you're doing. But take us back right to the beginning when you came up with the idea and you saw that there was a huge problem in the market. Make it personal for us. Let us see what that problem was. And then we're going to take investors all the way forward to building the product, building the team, getting the traction, interacting with the customers, and taking us to where we are today, which is on the edge of that huge breakthrough to get you ready for Series A.
Okay. All right. Cool. So I'll go back to 2016. Actually,
Take us back.
that's when the journey started. Um, we started building a data marketplace where people can go if they want any data about any African companies. We started building that, and what we realized is that there is no platform that have a lot of the things that you need to be able to have a commerce in Africa. There's no one platform that you can go and have payments and have logistic and all of that stuff in it. So because that was our headache then, and we decided to build a platform ourselves, and we started building a platform called LeaseBuy. So LeaseBuy was built to LeaseBuy was built to become what Shopify is. That's what we were building at that time, and there happened to be a feature then that we have in LeaseBuy where after you do your shopping, you'll be able to pick any logistic companies that you want to deliver your item.
Hmm.
So that feature is Shiip then, but it was not called Shiip then. But what we realized is that people were actually coming in to use LeaseBuy, but they don't want to build their store. They just want to use the delivery aspect of it. And people will have their store on social media, or they have their store on WordPress, and they will just say, "Can I just use your logistic aspect of it?" So it gets to the point where, okay, if people are asking for that, why not just build that out as a product itself? And at that point, I think we only have like maybe like 7 different logistic company that we put together that people can use on our platform. And we decided that, you know what, let's actually just pivot into this thing because people are asking for it. So in 2021, during COVID, when COVID is going down, that's when we pivot into what we have as Shiip today. Right now, Shiip have over 51 delivery carriers now. Our first set of customers were
Well,
customers that
actually,
come.
before we get there, so two things you've said which are like super interesting. Like the first one is you had a Slack moment, right? That you were so intently listening to your customers
Mhm.
that you realize what portion of the platform was the most important for them, and you hyper focused on that area rather than providing everything to everyone. You took the area that you knew was the biggest possible pain. But why was that such a big pain for them? Like, what was the problem with the logistics in Africa? And it's probably even a super wide question because there's so many different customers that have so many logistical problems. But I got a feeling this is like a thread that you're pulling from a dress. The more you
Yeah.
pull, the more you see there's just more and more and more. It's not just the big trucks on the big roads that can't get things to places. It's the folks that are trying to get stuff like a mile away and half a mile away. Like, so just talk us through the process of kind of as you were pulling that thread and what conclusions that led you to.
Um, the first thing that you have to realize is that um, majority of the people that run logistic in Africa, um, they are not. Uh, I'll call them. They're not like engineers, right? As an engineer, you look at a problem. How can I fix it? A lot of people that run logistic in Nigeria, they just want to buy. They just want to build infrastructure. Meaning, they just want bikes. They just want big trucks. They just. But the thing is this: Lagos, for example, I'll pick on Lagos, for example, it's already congested. There's no need for you. Why are you buying more trucks? That's not going to make logistics a little faster. But we coming in as a more of an engineer, mindset of okay, based on what we currently have, how can we structure that to solve the problem that they have? Because the infrastructure is there to move item from one place to another. It's a matter of them actually, looking at the data points that they have and build a solution from that, right? Which is what we do. We're like, okay, why can't we just connect all these different logistic companies that's already existed? They already have the infrastructure. Why can't we just connect them together and build a layer on top of that? And that layer will be the aggregator. Will be the aggregator where if you want uh, to move a smaller item, you see the list of logistic companies there. If you want to move a bigger item, you see the list of just logistics there. If you care more about speed, right? You see the people that can do same day delivery for you, right? That's what we do, right? And instead of you having to go to multiple websites to compare prices and stuff, you could come in one location. You'll be able to have all of those things there. You want tracking, the same place, the same app that you have, Sheep, you'll be able to have all of that stuff in it. The problem that we have with people is that they will tell us, let me focus on my business. I don't
Yeah.
want to be doing logistic. I want somebody else to be doing that for me. I don't want to have to hire somebody to be doing that. Is there a way you guys can take that problem off my hand and just do it? And because you don't know where your customers are coming from, your customers can be coming from different part of Africa. They can be coming come from different part of Nigeria. Now, are you going to now be calling a logistic company in Kenya because you want to deliver an item to Kenya? No, you're not going to do that. You rather come into a location, to an app where, okay, they sort all of that stuff for you. It's like a business in a box. You take in that software, you put it in on your laptop, you turn it on, and you get every solution that you need in terms of what you need to solve your problem. That's what we are doing. And we started with last mile delivery companies, and now we have bigger companies that are using our software as part of their like launch, or maybe they want to do like a match. They want to do a match, they're using us as a as the go-to person to fulfill the delivery for them. So we want to get to a space where people will be like, okay, if I want to do if I want, let's say I want to release a movie, or I want to release an album, and merch will be part of that. Bring ship in. Ship will be that company that will handle the logistic aspect of things for you. We handle fulfillment for you. We have a fulfillment center in Lagos already, where people that want to launch their books, you could print your books and put it to our location, and we do the fulfillment for you as people order it. So that's where we are going. It's not just to build the software, but the software has to serve as a tool for us as well,
You're
right? We have to
building out
be.
the entire you're building out the entire infrastructure for
Yeah.
every single point that they would want. And you're also de-risking yourself from not being necessary by having some of the physicality involved in it as well as the actual software itself. Very, very smart. And then so as you built, as you realized the solution, you built out the platform, what was defining where the platform went to? And the challenge, I'm guessing, in building the platform was very high because you have to, I mean, it's extremely difficult because you're having to pre-guess the logistical challenges being facing by all of these people. Now, after a while, you have enough numbers so that actually the generality of it works for the entire algorithm that you're building. But you have to do it very manually at the building at the beginning to put it together. Like talk us through that.
Yeah, the building was tough. The building was tough. The reason why a lot of logistic company are failing in Nigeria is because the for example, the ones that have apps, the app is just it's just not working the way it's supposed to. So it's tedious because you have to work with each company
Mhm.
differently. They have different style that they use to calculate, their prices. You have to work with them. Some of them doesn't even have an APIs, so we have to create it for them, right? We have to be able to create it for them because the lifetime of a logistic company in Nigeria is 3 months.
Wow.
It's 3 months, so we have to be real careful that we don't waste energy on a platform on a platform that's not going to be there after 3 months. So those are things that we went through in the beginning, where we have to make sure that okay, are we wasting our energy on something that's not going to be there in a long time, right? And also internationally, shipping internationally is different from the way we calculate our stuff, right? International carriers, they calculate their weights and prices differently. People
Yeah.
that are our local delivery companies, they calculate their stuff a little differently as well. So those are pain points that we have to uh, go through. And also, there's some things that you will not learn unless you are in the business, right? There's some things that you have to be in the business to know those things so that we can actually serve our customers better, right? Stuff like, for example, estimate. In estimates, you only need three things. You need the address,
Yeah.
you need the weight, and you need the end customer. That's the three things you need. So those are the three things that you don't know. And as we go along, we are collecting a lot of data points that um we have three ways of mapping addresses now, not just Google, because we have our own data that we already collected. So if Google is not bringing the right coordinates, we look at what we currently have in our database. The data will map itself out as well. So we're not just focusing on now. We are focusing on the future. We want to become that think tank where people will come in terms of addresses, getting accurate addresses, in Africa. Those are things that we're planning for.
And is that where the gold is that you see in the future? Is it in the data?
Oh yeah. The gold is in the data that we have. That's what's gonna tell us what other product we need to build. That's what's gonna tell us what other product we need to build. One of the products that we are launching, it's almost done, is another product that's called Shop and Ship, where we realize that a lot of people from Africa, they are missing out, on Black Friday or Cyber Monday or on all those deals. And the reason why they are missing out is because most of those wholesalers, they don't ship to Africa.
Right.
They don't they don't ship to Africa. And if they don't ship to Africa, if we can be that company that can actually facilitate that item from US to Ghana or to Uganda. Yes, that's what we're gonna do because we realize that our customers are asking us that, can you ship my item for me? Oh, I'm buying something from Amazon. Can you guys ship it from New York to Nigeria for me? We are hearing those, and it's becoming to the point where okay, we see the data, we see how many of those things we are doing every month.
Yeah.
You know, so we are building something like an addition to ship that can facilitate that for people instead of having them to be contacting us. They can just do it on the app itself.
And so is that the road for growth? Is it through partners? Is it through building APIs into partner systems and then be able to like grow on the back of those for the massive scaling? Or is it through the direct one to one through enterprises?
The growth is in enterprises. The growth is in enterprises. Having partnership with Instagram, for example, or having
Yeah.
partnership with Flutterwave, right? Having partnership with Amazon. That's where it's at. We want to build up. We want people to build their software into our software, right? Have our software as part of their own operation. That's where the growth. That's where the growth is, because with that one, it won't requires a lot of maintenance from our end.
Yeah. Makes it
It will
much
just
easier.
be there.
Yeah, it makes it much easier. And then, so what was some of the challenges? So I like the hero's journey as a really good roadmap to building it. And sometimes, especially when we're having a conversation like this, and it's an investor conversation, and we're saying, okay, we're going to talk about the product need, we're going to talk about like what happened in the market, we're going to talk about how valuable it is, we're going to talk about logistics in Africa, which we should do because it's huge, and then we're going to talk about like how we link it all together so that we can build going forwards. And sometimes I go through this so fast that I don't talk through some of the tough, challenging times to break through. But those tough, challenging times are a measure of the entrepreneur themselves, almost in more ways than anything else. So, how
Mhm.
has that been for you? Has it been
Um,
easy?
no, it's not easy. You have to prove yourself. You have to prove yourself over and over. You know, uh, this is not my first time, of building a company, right? But people still want you to prove yourself. A logistic company, they will not just join ship, right?
Yeah,
They always ask questions about, are you taking businesses away from me? Things like that. Uh, 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 they will tell us, their APIs, they don't have somebody that fix their APIs all the time. You have to
yeah,
take that to do that ourselves. The policies, Africa in terms of technology policy is still kind of like at an infancy rate, that we can't grow as fast as we want to, because we believe that the software that we have can be distributed across Africa today. We believe that, but a lot of those other countries, uh, uh, their infrastructure is not there.
yeah,
Not only that, but the policy is not there. Right, Nigeria, we just they just passed through our startup bill for entrepreneurs. We just did that this year, but that wasn't there before. So those are the
nice.
kind of things that we have to make sure that, when we build something, is it would when the policy comes, will it affect it?
Mm.
Right. So
And
those are the things
also,
we do.
you're trailblazers, right? So Africa is an incredible continent with the fastest growing everything. I don't even need to break them down. Everything, right? 25% of the population is going to be African in the future. However, there are only what, seven, eight, nine unicorns?
Unicorns, yeah,
Right? That's
yeah.
all, which is
It's
crazy, right? It's crazy. And especially with the folks like Chipper Cash, building a unicorn, a Flutterwave,
a lot of waves.
building a unicorn, and Andela, our friend with
Yeah, yeah.
Andela as well. And then, like, so all of those things, like, so the thing is this, it is underscoring,
Mm,
right? It ain't doing Senegal for unicorns right now, and it should be. And
yeah.
because there are so many great founders breaking through, I feel in my soul that Africa is like 2 to 3 years away from hitting well into double digit unicorns. Well into them. Forget
Yeah.
recessions, forget other kind of stuff. Like Africa will have 50 unicorns within the next 3 to 5 years. Guaranteed.
I mean,
Guaranteed. And more, you could even argue, right? You could even say that I'm being pessimistic about it. So here's my deal. What are the biggest problems that Africa is facing right now? Logistics is a huge problem. It's a monster problem. And actually, there are some challenges that you would look at Africa and you'd be like, hey, it's just bad. It should be better. And then there are other
yes.
things you look at and you're like, damn, it's a freaking huge place. Like it's
Yeah.
really hard, to be fair. And logistics, I kind of put in that place of, Yeah, maybe we could say people should do it a little bit better, but actually, it's just a really hard problem to fix.
It
And the
is.
economies are moving and shifting so quickly, and the populations are getting, and there's more folks moving into the middle class and getting stronger. That actually, it's just the timing is excellent to do this right now. It's excellent.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure it's anybody's fault.
Yeah. I actually believe that with the population that not just Nigeria, but Africa as a whole, I really believe that there's a lot of opportunities in the commerce sector.
Hmm.
When I say commerce sector, that include logistics because logistics is part of that. Um, Africa is still not open. When I mean open, like in terms of the neighboring countries,
Yeah,
by the time that opens, that means somebody from Nigeria can shop from somebody from Togo today and get an
yeah,
item within a week.
yeah.
By the time that opened up, where people can actually do trade within Africa itself, those unicorns that you're mentioning, they're gonna be coming from commerce space,
They will.
because the population is so much that buying from each other, that will create a lot of jobs, a lot of new industries that is not even thriving right now. They're gonna be thriving because of that.
In a massive way.
Once that open.
In an absolute massive way, and it's just beginning. And of course, this is why we invested in Clasha as well, because they're breaking down those barriers. So the really nice thing is actually, in many ways, you're very comparable with Clasha, who are breaking through really well in Africa
Yeah.
right now, because you're solving the same problem. They're solving logistical challenges in payments. You're solving logistical challenges in supply chain. The challenges are exactly the same, though. They are logistical challenges that are stopping businesses from carrying out their daily trade.
Yes.
And that's not acceptable. So, talk to me about going forward. Okay. So, everybody listening to this is going to be
Yeah.
like, Brian, I get it. Stop already. Like, we get it. Logistics, it's challenging. Africa, it's very big. Lots of companies are growing exponentially versus where we were before. The populations are growing much bigger. The logistical leads are growing much bigger, and the infrastructure for what is required for tomorrow is not there today. So all of those things need to be built, and a marketplace that allows to folks to be able to come in and be able to do that, which is actively managed by data driven
Mhm.
strategy. That is the future of it all. So everybody
Yes.
gets it. Now let's talk about how you grow this sucker to be a couple of $1 million a month and one of the finest unicorns that Africa has ever seen.
Yeah, good question. Good question. Supply chain, order fulfillment. We believe that that's where the growth is for us in the next 6 months. We know that Amazon is coming. They're coming next year, and we want to be part of that. We want to be part of that. We know that there's a lot of people in the diaspora that want to sell into Africa. They want businesses that they want to be selling items to Africa. We believe that we are there for them in terms of
Yeah,
order fulfillment, and we believe that we need to, we are planning on having location in every single geographical zone in Africa, starting with Nigeria
nice.
in terms of fulfillment, right? We are, once we have that our fulfillment center open up, doing same day delivery, the prime delivery that Amazon is doing, we can do that for them because we have access to 51 different delivery carriers right now. So it's not like we're gonna be it's not like we're gonna have too much order that we can't deliver. You know, these delivery companies are there. They're waiting. They're waiting to be given jobs for them to like deliver a different item. We believe that that's where the growth is. Building and approaching different companies to build their software with us in mind that we're gonna perform the fulfillment for them, the order delivery for them. We believe that that's where the growth is. And a couple of things are happening in the next few months. We are going live with a couple of big companies that have that have different locations in Africa. They're gonna build their software is being built into ours, and they
Nice.
and they already launched already. These are unicorn. one of them is a unicorn. So we know that automatically open us up in Uganda, in Ghana, in Kenya. That will automatically kind of open us up. So and finding people like that, finding company like that will build their software into ours. That's where the growth is. Yeah, that's where the growth is. Yeah.
Nice. And then translate that into numbers for me, okay? So how much are we raising right now? How are we looking at the growth in monthly revenue? And maybe talk a little bit about how it's grown in 2022, and then how we're going to go in 2022 into 2023 and maybe 2024, and like how that growth is going to increase so investors can see what round you're going to be at and how the valuation is going to grow. Let's appeal to people's greed.
Okay. All right. So right now we are raising pre-seed for 500K. That's what we're raising. And in terms of growth, our growth last year was our building phase. Our growth last year was about 29,000. We did that in the first 2 months of the year this year,
Nice.
right? And the reason why we did that, we were able to do that was because we are not in growth phase. We are not in building phase anymore. We're actually selling. We are selling now. And not until middle of this year, at the end of the second quarter, that's when we started actually reaching out to B2B. Because before it was B2C, B2B now, because we believe that we want to be part of a supply chain for different companies and stuff. So, for example, we are going live with a company in December, like at the end of this December, that currently have 30,000 plus merchants that have stocks on them. If they decide not to grow anymore, they just want to stay with that 35,000 merchants. By the end of next year, we're going to be passing 1 million in revenue.
Wow.
And that's if they decide not to grow anymore. Imagine they say, okay, we're not growing, we're just staying with that. But we know they're going to grow. So the more they grow, the more we grow. And that's just one company. That's just one
Amazing.
company.
And where do you think that will leave you at the end of this year for
At the
revenue?
end of this year, our projection is about 300 and plus to finish at the end of this year. It's about 300 and plus.
It's a good year. That's a
Yeah.
good, strong year to finish. And then we raise a little bit of money. And what are we going to do next year?
Open those fulfillment centers that I mentioned around the country. That's what we want to do. We want to be able to open that fulfillment center. That means if you want to ship something from the north, right, your item does not have to come to Lagos, right? It will just go from north to north. Because right now, what's happening is, if I want to, for example, if I want to ship something to London, my item will come to Lagos first. If I'm in the north, it will come to Lagos first. Then it will now go. No, it doesn't have to do that. But when we have those fulfillment center in those different geographical zones, it will just go to that zone and it will just, and it will just travel overseas, right? And that's why I said that a lot of the delivery companies that we have in Africa, they're just delivery companies. They're not engineers. The way they don't do design thinking. When you think, because we believe that the infrastructure is there, it's a matter of just using the data to tell you how to place those things, which is what we are doing. So the growth next year, the revenue that we have this year is to open up those delivery centers in those different zones that we have in Africa, in Nigeria. Open that up, and from there you will be able to ship faster. The more we ship faster, the more revenue we make, because we are in a volume business, right? The more volume we get, the better it is. And
Easier it's going to be, yeah.
yeah,
And then how will you, as far as raising money on top of that, then? So, like I said, great platform, great strategy for the future. Logistics center is nicely tied in. Keep on driving the growth. Use the large enterprises and the additional countries that they need as an entry point to actually
yeah.
go into those additional countries. And hey, presto, it's like magic. I got nothing here. Suddenly I got a rabbit, and we're in like 5 countries immediately. And how much money do we need to raise to get there?
How much money do we need to raise to get there? We are thinking about 10 million, but we want to raise pre-seed first.
Mm-hmm.
We believe that we should raise pre-seed first. That pre-seed will help us with our journey. Because one thing that we don't want to do is we don't want to grow too big and we don't have money.
Yeah.
We don't, we don't want that. Like if we've already raised the 500K today, I'll tell you that before the end of next quarter, all those fulfillment centers in those different zones in Nigeria will be open.
No, I think it's great. But I'm thinking probably the best thing to do, just to make sure that it's something that an investor can bite on right now, is probably go for 1.5 to 2 million, right? That would put you in a place where you can immediately grow for the first 6 months, and then we start preparing for your Series A in September, October next year.
Oh no, let me kind of repeat myself. The 10 million that I mentioned is for Series A.
Yeah,
That's what I
exactly.
mentioned. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I mentioned. But for pre-seed is we're going for 500K. We've raised some now, with you guys, investing in us. We've raised some, but if we can finish that, if we can get that 500K and just because we already have all the designs already in terms of implementation, it's a matter of just having the capital to actually put these things in place and stuff. The plan is to replicate what we have in Lagos or what we have in Ibadan, right? Just replicate that in different cities and stuff.
Yeah.
That's the
Um,
plan. Yeah.
that makes sense. I think we should have plenty to go from there. So look, here's the deal. We've invested in the company. We love Africa. We love logistics in Africa. Like I said, you've now heard how they fit in with logistics in Africa. And the competitors are either inadequate or are very basic on what their level of offering is. Like there are some platforms, but the platforms don't even touch this on 100 levels. They're just trying to get stuff from here to here. They are not a data-driven logistics platform that solves supply chain problems across the entire board, that will continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger until they own the supply chain, and then they distribute through their partners as well. So for me, that's very straightforward. Can you give everybody your email address so folks can contact you? And I want to leave you with the last word as to, in 5 or 10 years' time, when people are talking about Shiip, and there's two people in a room talking about it when you're not there, but they are speaking absolutely accuracy. Tell me what that conversation looks like. Okay, so give us your email and then
Okay.
tell us what that comment stroke conversation between those two people look like in 5 to 10 years' time, describing very accurately what Shiip is.
My email is Quadri, QUADRYOLA at ideraos.com. IDERAOS.com. That's my email. As far as in the next, couple of years, what will people will say about Shiip? They will remember that, specifically what Paystack and Flutterwave did for payment. That's the same impact that we're gonna have in terms of logistics. We're gonna open it up. We are opening it up for everybody in Africa to be able to move their commerce from one place to another. That's the same thing we are doing. We are making it more seamlessly. We are making it more easy for people to actually build their business on top of our logistics, just like people build their business on top of payments for using Paystack or Flutterwave. Is the same exact impact that we are going to have, because we are making it easy for you to be able to access any delivery companies you want. You want to move a big item, you want to move a smaller item, or you are just a college student that just went go to abroad to go learn, and you forgot something in Nigeria, or you miss home, you want to get stuff from home, you're going to Shiip to go help you to bring all those things to you. That's what you're going to remember. You're going to remember that because of Shiip, there's so many other big businesses that's now open up, that's thriving, because they use Shiip as part of their supply chain. That's what people are going to be saying. Either I'm there or not. That's what they're going to be saying about us.
I love it. The fully connected system, taking you everywhere you want to go in Africa, taking your package anywhere they want to go in Africa. I love it. Absolutely great. Listen, I'm delighted to have invested in you. I love the fact that Expert Dojo are involved. You and I are going to keep on pushing forward and building this brand, and we are going to support you in any way that we can. So let's go and build a unicorn.
Let's go.